It's this weird post-apocalyptic world. There's a line in the movie about those who control the water control the power, and we're from a desert, so for some reason that resonated. And then Tank Girl has this weird boyfriend who's part monster, and then she has an affair with her tank, and actually in the comic book series she ends up having a baby and it's half tank. It's really fucking, excuse me, weird. I always edit thinking, we don't have to worry.
Rating.
Okay.
Say whatever the fuck you want.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel so fucking liberated.
There you go.
But it's a girl power story.
Yeah,
like,
I
it really
remember
is.
that being...
And the soundtrack is rad.
Yeah.
So Tank Girl was a huge one.
And that's the music connection, in that the comic book is done by the same guy who does the Gorillaz artwork.
Oh, totally makes sense. I can see the resemblance. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Craft.
Oh, yeah.
Because me and my little friends were punk rock and kind of witchy. Mm-hmm. And in The Craft, Fruza Balk is in that. These girls discover that they might, if they get together as a coven, be able to harness their powers. I almost sent you a link because there's some actually really good one-liners from that movie that are just about observing life and trying to be empowered and getting kicked down by everybody, and then using your power, but you use it in the wrong way, and then you get some unexpected, undesired results. So The Craft was a big one. Like I said, the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not the show, the original movie, because she's such a ditzy Valley girl. She just has that like Valley girl speak. It's really unexpected that she's going to be the hero.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the TV show, I can't remember the name of the woman that plays Buffy.
Sarah Michelle
Gellar.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was huge in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
She's way more intelligent than this character from the movie, which is why the movie was so endearing. Because you're like, she should be dead by now, and she's kicking
I think that was Joss Whedon's whole thing, was that he wanted to like correct things that he saw in the film.
I kind of get it, but I sort of value the film for that reason.
Sure.
Because she just, I don't know, it stacks the odds against her a little bit more, and she still overcomes them. The Crow. That was a huge one. Yeah. In the 90s.
Brandon Lee. Yeah. Jason Lee is from like Mallrats. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Kevin Smith. We should talk about him.
Yeah, Kevin Smith, absolutely.
Chasing Amy. Was that the 90s? It had to be. That movie taught me about relationships and bisexuality, which were new concepts for me as a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Smith, I want to say, I mean, keep going down your list, because Kevin Smith was another kind of filmmaker that I latched onto at the time.
I ticked off most of the girl movies, except one that is often forgotten about is Romy and Michelle's high school reunion.
Oh, yeah.
And my best friend Deborah and I loved that movie. We probably watched it 6 or 7 times, just because it was really incredible as teenagers to try to imagine the future. Mm-hmm. And different timelines. Like there's a whole, what if, you ended up with the really nerdy guy, but he turns out to be handsome and rich later in life, or what if you really are just a loser as an adult? And that was scary to think about. It still scares me. Not sure which side I fell on in that one, but yeah.
I think probably, to kind of run down, I don't think that, and anybody can feel free to argue with me, but I don't think that Kevin Smith has made a good film since the 90s. Because looking at what came out in the 90s, Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, and Dogma.
And I don't even really like Dogma, but I know a lot of people that love that movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that a lot.
I think Alanis Morissette ruins it for me. Sorry, Ron, if you ever listen to this.
But yeah, I mean, and I thought Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was fun.
Yeah.
But that was, and I have, there's a lot of his stuff that I've missed since then. Because
what is he doing lately? I feel like I just saw him as a judge on a show like America's Got Talent or one of those cheesy.
That's possible. Yeah, I don't know. He almost died. He had like a massive heart attack.
Really?
And he's gotten super thin.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He used to be a chubby guy.
Yeah. He
always had like those big jerseys.
Yeah, he was always super big jersey pot smoker guy.
Yeah.
and had a massive coronary and almost died, and then got healthy.
Well, that'll make you change your lifestyle.
Sure, yeah.
What has he done in like between the 90s and now?
So
List off a few that I might recommend.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jersey Girl.
Ugh.
Yep. See, Clerks 2, which I've never seen. Zack and Miri. I actually haven't seen any of his films since.
Oh, Zack and Miri Make a Porno is kind of funny. I think you might appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're sober now, so maybe not.
Cop Out, Red State, which I remember being kind of controversial. Tusk, which is notable for having an adult. What's his name? Haley Joel Osment.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that one missed me completely.
Yeah.
And now that you tell me that, I still kind of don't care.
Yeah. Holidays and Yoga Hosers.
Although Sixth Sense was a really good movie. But
That was one where I again, once you knew what was going on, I don't think
Really?
I've ever gone back and watched it. Yeah. Yeah, because
I'm
going to
feel stupid now. You kind of make me feel
No.
simple because I was impressed by that plot twist.
Because I definitely was when I saw it too, and I thought it was just, once they kind of like, you can go back and, oh yeah, he was a ghost the whole time or whatever.
Nobody
I did
spoiled
really,
that for me, so I got to see that and figure it out. And ooh,
yeah, I did really enjoy it. But but the same thing could be said for Seven, which was, once
same.
yeah. But I still like the movie.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I love Chris Marker. And in my media studies program, we watched Sans Soleil and La Jetée. And La Jetée is the short film that he made. That's what am I trying to say? You just named it. 7 Monkeys, right? Is that what you just named? I'm losing my track of time.
I just, what did I, 7.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
Am I getting them mixed up
with
now?
12 monkeys.
12 monkeys. Jeez. Okay, so remind me what 7 is, because I totally just got those two mixed up.
With
the
with Brad
serial
Pitt.
killing.
Yeah, it's got Brad Pitt.
My bad. There's
Morgan
numbers
Freeman.
in them, so I got them mixed up.
And
I feel like such an airhead.
it's Kevin Spacey is the serial killer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a huge, again, a genre that was happening in the 90s. We wait for you to name off that kind of, again, I suppose more psychological sort of thing would have been Sixth Sense, 7, Usual Suspects.
Yeah. Oh, Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
That's such a good movie.
It is.
Kevin Spacey again.
Again, Kevin Spacey.
Why did he have to turn out to be such a creep?
Well, so did Bryan Singer, though. So
Yuck.
it's kind of a double whammy there. But Gabriel Byrne, super awesome in it. Probably my favorite film out of the 90s that never gets, I think, fair shakes or recognized is The Spanish Prisoner.
I don't remember that one.
Okay, it's a David Mamet film. Okay. David Mamet, written and directed. It has Campbell Scott, and Steve Martin.
Whoa!
And they're kind of the principal players. But it's a serious film. It's a serious acting role for Steve Martin, and he does. I think it's really good. It's one of those again where I can't say too much about it because it's a sort of the at least the first time you watch it, it hinges on not knowing anything about it. But that was really good. And I actually really liked, I know that David Mamet is another problematic figure.
But he's such a
more for being an asshole than anything else.
Yeah.
But he had, in addition to film. Okay, so that's not a good.
Buffalo
Spanish Prisoner
Nickel
came out in
is
97.
such an incredible story, and so is Glengarry.
Yeah, well, and I Glengarry is not.
Was that the 90s?
Okay, yeah, 92. Glengarry Glen Ross, and that's. I mean,
I never saw it as a kid. I saw it as an adult, and
I saw that.
Really?
I saw that as a kid. Again,
I wouldn't
I
have
probably
gotten it.
appreciated it more
Yeah.
as an adult, but Jack Lemmon's performance in it, I think that you could just see like how he was just as that character of essentially the washed up salesman who's like on his way out, who needs this last big score basically to put his daughter, to pay his daughter's medical bills.
yeah, it's so
And-
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have gotten it at age 12 when it first came out. I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I think I probably saw it at least a couple of years after that, but I know I saw it in the 90s. But I was already very steeped in cinema at that point, so I was probably watching it critically.
My friends all liked movies, and I mean, I remember them being into Tarantino, and we saw, like Reservoir Dogs, and we probably had it on DVD.
Yeah. Well,
We
did that come
probably
out in
watched it.
97?
Oh yeah, it did. Oh yeah. And then From Dusk Till Dawn, which is so cheesy, but it's still
Oh, yeah.
one of my favorite
Hugely
movies.
cheesy.
And I recognize that a lot of why I like it so much is nostalgia, because it takes me back to my first apartment, living with these dirty punk rock boys, and that's the thing that we would watch over and over again.
92 Reservoir Dogs came out, because I guess 95 was
Pulp
I think 95
Fiction.
was Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were huge movies on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
Again, when you start to learn who the directors are, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm getting a sense of this person's style. Then when I moved away to college and I lived in the dorms at U of A, we were one of the few rooms in the dorms that, and I don't know how we did this because my roommate and I were so broke, but we sprung for cable.
Oh.
So we had IFC and
Ah,
Sundance. And I just remember I was like, why did I major in journalism? I should have majored in film. I just want to sit here in my room and watch these movies. Like, doesn't even matter. Put something on. The first time I ever discovered who Scarlett Johansson was, it's because she's in a movie called Manny and Lowe. Have you ever seen that?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
I'm
one.
getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because it's another one of these like completely beautiful, totally heartbreaking girl coming of age stories. Manny and Lowe. And I can connect it to, what's that movie that Michelle Williams was in where it's her and her dog?
I don't know. I don't know that one at all.
It's more contemporary. Manny and Lowe kind of reminds me of Wendy and Lucy, except in Manny and Lowe, at least they're sisters and they have each other.
Oh, yeah,
But-
from 96. That's a really super young Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. She's a baby. She already had that husky voice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, which reminds me of another one that me and my girlfriends loved, and that was Ghost World. Also based on a comic.
I still haven't seen it.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Oh, it's
And I
so
should have seen it
good.
long ago, but I haven't seen it.
Scarlett Johansson's in it. And then who's the other lead? Christina Ricci, maybe?
No, it's
No.
it's not. It's why can't I think of it? It is
Oh, right. This
Thora Birch.
Thora Birch, because I don't remember much else that she did besides Ghost World. And that's 2001, so sorry.
It is. No, you're going
Not
out
the
of you're going
90s.
out of the decade here.
But we mentioned Scarlett Johansson, so that made me remember.
I don't know what Thora Birch has really done since then.
Steve Buscemi, also in Ghost World. Interesting performance, although kind of creepy.
She looks like she's done a lot of like underground stuff.
Yeah, so
Since then.
when I got the, IFC channel, I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
indie movies, stuff that you never see a trailer for. Or,
Yeah. But I mean, it was great going to. I spent a lot of time at Camel View in the 90s for sure, and definitely the early 2000s.
Spent a lot of time at the Loft while I lived in Tucson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad they're still going strong.
they're
That place
still
is
there.
great.
Yeah. That was, I probably, I think the movie that I watched most that we haven't talked about yet is Grosse Pointe Blank.
Have How did I know that Cusack fan?
I love that movie. That movie is
It's
so
good.
tightly